Welcome to another episode of Legacy Lessons with Jack and Chan, where our goal is to provide you education, inspiration, information over a little bit of conversation. Let's go.
When all the heads in the house turn towards the door, and all the men's jaws drop to the floor, it's nothing to me, it's just how I roll. People on the dance floor starting to jump, and all their little hearts going thump, thump, thump. Nothing special to me, that's just how I roll.
We are back. Thank you so much for being with me here today again, Anthony Chan.
I'm excited, and I have a few questions for you, Jack. If you
Yes.
can humor me a little bit.
I know. It's like, I was just thinking, before we jump in, I was thinking the other day, like, oh my goodness, I just celebrated 3 years with Alexander Legacy Private Wealth Management. We actually just celebrated our 3rd anniversary. And so I know you've been on this journey with me from day one. And so thank you so much. I just want to start by saying that this is an anniversary moment. So thank you.
Congratulations, Jack. And this
Yes.
is very, very exciting. And I think what everybody wants to know is how does your firm, Alexander Legacy, sort of interact with that larger company, the Carson Group, and how is your firm interacting with them in a way that can enhance the effectiveness of wealth managers
Absolutely. Well, no, and I'm going to break that down in a couple.
and wealth advisors?
Sure. No, absolutely. And so I'm going to break that down into a couple parts. First want to, first of all, educate our listeners on Alexander Legacy Private Wealth Management, and then really how we partner with the Carson Group to get access to a full suite of resources so that not only are we able to provide our advisors, the team of advisors like myself and the other teammates, access to great resources, but our clients are most importantly provided with excellent resources so that, we can truly bring our sort of big box experience where we came from, but provide that boutique and that very customizable experience that we know is so critically important when you are providing, true bona fide financial advice. And so Alexander Legacy, the way we work is, we're an independent firm. And so for those that have never heard that term independent, basically what that means is that we sort of broke away from, in our case, we broke away from a bank brokerage firm and we started our own investment firm. And we went independent. We became entrepreneurs and we literally bootstrapped our business, right? And so we started with 0 AUM, but we had an incredible team that came to the table and really helped ensure that we had, the right team in place. Now, once you have the team in place, that is obviously the most important thing. But then you got to have a great platform, because it's one thing to have a firm and to be able to offer financial planning or investment solutions, or financial advice. But if you don't have great technology, if you don't have great compliance, if you don't have great marketing, if you don't have great investment solutions, you're kind of dead in the water. And so you asked me about Carson Group. So, when we decided to go into this world of independence and break away and start our own firm, we knew that, it was going to be almost impossible the way I wanted to do it. I'm a little bit, for lack of better words, I'm a little bougie. So I say that to say, I come from, 5-star organizations. And so if I were going to break away, it was not, to take the experience and go backwards. If anything, it was to increase that experience. It was to take all of the great experiences that I had in my 27 years, working for Fortune 100 companies and pulling the best of those experiences out so that, this next chapter, if you will, we could take that best of the best, almost creating like an all-star team and be able to provide that platform to both clients and advisors. And so shopping around, happened to run into the Carson Group. And interestingly enough, it was back in 2019, I met the president of the Carson Group, Terry Shepard, shout out. And her and I just hit it off right away. And so when that moment came and I decided I wanted to plug into a 5-star platform, I reached out to Terry and here we are. And so, more about that to come. But I think, what's important for our listeners to know is that, our listeners right now, they may be advisors, they may be future investors. The important thing, again, was ensuring that we had, we talked about it in earlier episodes, great technology, a great client experience, investment solutions that covers the gamut from alternatives to private and public markets, and most importantly, great compliance, great lead generation, and outstanding marketing. So that's really what happens when we plug into that Carson Group. We get a chance to get access to those resources without having to actually sort of combine those or pay for those on our own. That would have just almost been impossible.
And Jack, you're being a little modest because you bring decades of experience. So when you say you started from scratch, you really didn't, because you had close to 3 decades of experience when you started this company. And that, I think, is going to help you tremendously to attract wealth advisors into the company, and also have these wealth advisors that are vetted by you to make sure that they are the right ones that you want to put in front of the clients. Can you tell us a little bit about how your past experience of close to 3 decades have helped you in talking and recruiting some of these wonderful wealth advisors that you've been talking to and recruiting?
Absolutely. No, thank you so much for that. I think, having that, that time in the industry, both recruiting and spending time with, I've had the blessing of working with some of the country's number one advisors, who were incredibly successful. And so, that experience really allowed me to understand, first and foremost, the culture of the type of advisor or advisory firm that we wanted to create, and then the type of people that we want to work with, right? And so anybody who has followed my career over the last 3 decades, they know, first and foremost, I'm in this business purpose first. Profit will follow. And I remember one of my very first managers who hired me back at Bank One, when we were still Bank One Securities Corporation. She said a Chinese proverb that really stuck out. And she says, "Do what you love, and the money will follow." And I remember that, and I just that stuck out to me. And so throughout the years, I just really did what I loved. And what did I love doing? I loved helping advisors grow beautiful practices. I loved helping them figure out how to collaborate with other COIs, whether it be their colleagues inside of their bank branches or whether it be the mortgage officer, but really pulling people together so that everyone won. So the advisor wasn't the only one winning. The teller was winning. The branch manager was winning. The business banker was winning. And so one of my, I like to say, gifts and talents is really, really helping to pull people together, to really bring the it's like Berry Gordy for Motown, right? He's not the singer, he's not the dancer, but boy, oh boy, does he know how to recognize talent, right? He knew how to recognize the Michael Jacksons and the Diana Rosses and the Stevie Wonders, and pull those groups together, those diamonds in the rough, and create a whole Motown review. And so I would definitely say that's really, if I were to liken that analogy, I enjoy recruiting, meeting people, and most importantly, watching them take their careers to the next level. I've been blessed to really, I've hired bankers that were making like $35,000, and now some of them are running complexes, making $1.2 million a year, and I can say, I hired them. Yeah. And so that's what makes me proud. Is the years I've been in this industry, just the doors I've been able to open. Again, we had that conversations about DE&I. Right. Had I not been at the table, maybe some of those doors may have not been open for some of these individuals. So to be able to open that door, but then to show them how to be successful. So many managers hire people and they just leave them out to, almost to dry without any real mentorship or coaching or support. It's just like figure it out on your own. Never my case. You come up under my team, you're a representation of me. And so I want to make sure with every bone in my body. Now listen, my rule of thumb is I can't want it more than you. Now if I want it more than you, that's a problem. Mm-hmm. But for me, for the ones that, that were really dedicated to this business these last 3 decades, it's been really amazing to see just the career paths that many of them have taken. So thank you for bringing that up. And I think my passion for finding those diamonds in the rough, like Berry Gordy, right? Think of I'm a Motown chick too, but my passion for that and being able to show them like how talented they really are, and then to empower them to take that wealth of information that many of us have as wealth advisors and to now go out and change your family dynamics, change your community, and then hopefully go out and help recruit more people in the industry. That's what makes this special.
So, Jack, the natural question is, what do you tell a young person that's even thinking about going into the profession and becoming a wealth advisor? I was with you when J.P. Morgan, before that was Bank One Investment Advisors. I was with the company and J.P. Morgan for 25 years, so I certainly, I'm very proud to say that we've known each other for over 20 years, and that's been a beautiful experience for both of us. But the question is, what do you tell people that look like us?
Yeah.
I'm half Hispanic and have half of my family that's African American, and so I want to be able to tell some of these people this kind of things and benefit from your experiences. What do we tell a young person that's thinking of becoming a wealth advisor, a wealth manager, or even entering the financial profession? And they, at this point, are thinking, we're open to all these ideas, but we need some advice, a little mentoring. What would you tell somebody that tells you, I'm thinking about the financial profession, I'm thinking about becoming a wealth advisor, what should I do?
Oh my goodness. I would say, to me, I'm so blessed, and I say this so humbly, that I chose this field. And so if there's a young person that's just even slightly raising their hand telling me that they want to think about it, I would say absolutely. And here's why I say it. Not just because I'm in it, right? But what this industry has taught me. Think about what we have gone through in these legacy lessons. I mean, I'm learning about the economy. I've learned about deal structure. I've learned about the public markets, the private markets. I mean, and so it's helped me in my own personal life change my whole economic situation for myself and for my family. And not only now has it done that, all my friends are now, their lives are forever changed. So I see the impact that it has done just by gathering the wealth of information. Even if I decided I wanted to go and become a talk show host tomorrow, by being in this industry, I am now equipped and intelligent enough to manage my wealth in a much, much different way than I had I not, decided to be in this industry or maybe go in a different direction. So by all means, I would say I'm so glad that you brought that up, because one of the things I fought for was to help get financial literacy in the high schools. And, about a couple years ago, they've passed that law where now you have to have at least a half a credit, if not a full credit, of financial literacy before you can even graduate high school. And so I just know how much financial education, as we talked about in previous episodes, how it could change the world. And so if someone wants to be in this industry, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, for me, when I got in the industry in the 90s, it was very different. I was driving about an hour to work, and I got in at about 7:45 because we had to be in the war room by 8 o'clock. And from 8 to, 8:30 or so, we were in the war room, and then the bell rung at 9:30. And, I probably stayed in the office till 7 o'clock at night. Now, remember, guys, this is the 90s. It was like we were hustling. And so my early training in this industry was very, very rich and very dynamic. I was in the office, as I mentioned, 7:45 to 7, Monday through Friday. That might scare our next generation right now, but that was me in my 20s. I was in an office environment where it was just really a bunch of cubes, so I could hear 30 advisors at once pitching. So I got a chance to hear them pitch multimillionaires on a regular basis. So I got that subconsciously as a 20-year-old, fresh, wet behind the ears advisor. So I was getting, just on the job training. And so, for me, I know now things are a lot different with this next generation. There may not be in the office from 7:15 or, to 7:15. So that's where attending conferences, listening to shows like this, you gotta create that education for yourself, or else you're gonna be behind the 8 ball. So That's my long-winded way of saying it's a great career, but it takes a lot of early sacrifice. I mean, I had to get my Series 7 license. I had to get my Series 63 license. I had to get my Series 65 license. I had to keep my credit score really, really high, and I had to keep my nose really, really clean, because when you're in this industry, they look at all of that. And so that's what I remind my young people.
Excellent. So it sounds, Jack, like you're saying this profession opens a lot of doors, not only today, but in the future.
Absolutely. It opens so many doors. And so, I'm actually mentoring several young people. I mentor for my previous high school, Southfield High. I mentor for a group called Year Up. And, as part of that mentorship, we formed partnership with corporations like a JP Morgan, as an example, where we've not only opened up mentorship opportunities, but we give them jobs, right? Where they can come in, they can make $40,000, $50,000 a year, like out the gate, with benefits and the opportunity for tuition reimbursement and the opportunity to have a great career path as a wealth advisor. I mean, that is huge, right? Like, oh my God. And so, like, no excuse out here. If you're, and here's the thing about wealth advice, you don't have to know it all, right? Like I like to say this, the beautiful thing about this, the financial services industry is it's so dynamic. If you like research, you can be the person researching, right? If you're a people person and you just want to go out there and win business and get people, to come and join the firm or become clients, you can be a relationship manager. If you're someone who really gets into financial planning and you enjoy budgeting, financial planning, cash flow, and analysis, you can be that person too, right? If you enjoy investment banking and deal structure, and our friend yesterday, he enjoys M&A activity and really going out and looking at distressed businesses and figuring out ways to get them back to, to black. The world is endless, right? It's very exciting, very exciting. And so for me, I definitely want to see more young people, more people of color really look at this career field, because again, it's not just a very lucrative career, it's an opportunity to really learn about money and take those lessons and create generational wealth. So today we had a chance to talk a little bit about why Alexander Legacy chose the Carson Group and the platform that they provide, and really, why we believe that, this platform is just, so dynamic when it comes to just some of the things that we provide from a technology perspective, investment perspective, marketing, et cetera. But, I hope that this also opened the eyes of, our young people who might want to explore careers in this field, even career changers. I'm finding, nowadays I have friends who have been in industry for 25 years as teachers or nurses, and now they're like, Jack, I want to become a wealth advisor. Like, so they want to take that same sort of nurturing characteristic that they have in their day job and figure out how to then transfer that over to potentially building relationships and helping themselves and their family. So it's very interesting now where, I believe this career path could be just dynamic. But, thank you so much for allowing me to share my story and hopefully share with our listeners why I chose the Carson Group and why I believe independence is just really a dynamic platform for us to consider. Let me say one more thing about independence that I want to be very clear to advisors that are listening out there. The other reason I chose this route, now it might be, again, a little bit of a huge pill to swallow for some folks, but this pathway of entrepreneurship provides freedom and flexibility. It provides valuation. You actually will, when you build this and you build it properly, it's an asset on your balance sheet. And so for me, especially as I think about our young people and people of color and the people that I'm really trying to open up their eyes to see some of these other options that are out there in our industry, a big part of my mission and my legacy is to help more people get access to the opportunity to be entrepreneurs and to have a business that they can also pass on to their next generation. So I just wanted to bring that up. So I would say I want to really just unearth some of these myths that might be out there with advisors that really don't understand the pathway to independence. I want to be able to give them the pros and cons, and I would explore and invite advisors to call me. Hey, let's have a conversation. They can reach out to me on LinkedIn, on our website, which is alprivatewealth.com. But let's talk about this because I do believe it's so exciting and the best is still yet to come. It's been a lovely few days here in beautiful Las Vegas. The energy, as you said, is always on 10. And I'm just so glad that we were able to take some time, be in this beautiful, beautiful just environment. Oh my gosh.
Nobody sleeps. Every time there are people in the streets or people in different casinos, nobody is ever sleeping.
No, I mean, but okay, you're a New Yorker. All right, so Vegas, New York. I mean, come on, compare the two. Okay, they don't sleep in New York either, right?
That's right. So it was familiar for me.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to really just take some time during this episode and just thank my audience and our audience really for, tuning in. I mean, we've had a ton of fun. I just want to really just help our listeners understand the spirit and really, because I don't know if I went through that during this time. Like, why did we decide to come together and produce this show? And what's really the underbelly and the spirit of this show? And so, for those of you that are maybe just now tuning in or have been with us from day one, our goal with Legacy Lessons, it was to really ensure that there was a platform that gave you education that you could understand, easily digestible information about the capital markets, about the economy, about investing, so that you could take that off the table and start to get in the markets. My goal is to have more people investing because nothing goes wrong. Sally Krawcheck says from Elevest, she goes, nothing bad happens when more women are investing. And I'm going to say the same thing. Nothing bad happens when more people are investing, when more people are choosing to put money into their future. And so, the goal with this show was to really make sure that we help people remove any of those kind of fears that might be prohibiting them from going into their, starting to invest. And that's what we're going to do through our education. So thank you, Dr. Chan. Thank you so much. So tell me, as you think about like our last few episodes, I mean, we've covered everything from mental health to DE&I. We also had a chance to talk a little bit about Cat Williams and the Detroit Lions as well. We had a chance, Dennis Rodman ran into him. And so, what's been one of your key takeaways over these last, couple of episodes or these last few days, these last 8 episodes? What's really stuck out for you?
I think what really stuck out for me is that our goal is to provide people with the resources, the information, so they can make better investment decisions. Yes. And more importantly, as you said, not be afraid of making those decisions. Right. Because when you're more educated, you have more information, it really empowers you to make decisions that are optimal for yourselves, for everyone that is tuning in. Because to make decisions with a lack of information or no information, frankly speaking, is scary.
Yes.
But we can take that fear away when we have more information, and that's what we try to do in all of these episodes, to give them the information, basically to empower them to make these decisions.
That's right. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And so when I think about that scripture, it really is, it's true, right? And if we don't take the time to educate ourselves, to educate our children, then we see things perish. And so hopefully our goal also with this is, like you mentioned, it's to empower our listeners to not only listen to these episodes, but to hopefully go away. I like to call it my EPIC model. We educate. We then go say, now let's put a plan together. That's the P, right? Okay, all that's great. But if something stuck out, I might need to sit down and figure out if I should hire a financial advisor, if I need to subscribe to the Substack, but I need to put a plan together. And then I would say that even in itself is, plan, what do we say? Is write the vision, make it plain, and then that way you can go run with it. That's another scripture, but none of that even matters if you don't implement. Right? So I say educate is always the first thing. That's what we're trying to do here with this platform. And what we hope that is our listeners, they want 8 more episodes where we can take this thing even to the next level. So listeners, sponsors, we're looking for you. We got 65 years here and we know how to break it down. But that piece, when you get that education, the empowerment and the things that it could do for you and your family and your community, my God. And then to turn that into a plan that you can then go run with and implement. And then that C is finally let's celebrate. That's when right now we need that celebrate. Y'all didn't know I was a singer too. I think I shared. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. So what do you think about that? I mean, as far as like, we're here to educate. We want them to go plan. They need to go implement. But so many people celebrate before they before they implement.
Well, Jack, I think that's true. We know for a fact that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different things you can actually think about and, in fact, use to create that plan.
Yes.
And what these podcasts are trying to do is to give you that information. And hopefully in future episodes, we'll be able to go into other topics that will, again, empower you. So whether it's my newsletter on Substack, on the People's Economists, under Anthony Chan, or whether it's these podcasts, these venues are going to empower everyone to make these decisions that will not only make you, the viewers, and all of the people that are watching independent, but it will also make your future generations financially independent. And that's powerful. And that's where it all begins.
That's right. And as we mentioned, again, our goal is also to inspire, right? When I think about you, honestly, when I think about myself, hey, I'm inspired. And my goal is that, you know, there's some little girl out there and she's watching this podcast and she's like, oh my God, I didn't know I could do that. Or there's some young man, he's out there watching and he's saying the same thing. And so, you know, whether we are inspiring future investors, whether we are inspiring future colleagues, or whether we are inspiring, you know, future leaders that are watching this to say, wow, you know, they broke down some really interesting subject matters. I mean, from, you know, the conversations we had where we went all across the world to just some of the things that we're dealing here right in America right now. And we're not afraid to go there. I'm just going to say, for anybody who knows, like, we want to take this to the next level. We want to hear from you all. We want to understand what it is you're looking for. But at the end of the day, I'm just so very, very blessed that I have a PhD here next to me. So we're no short of content. You know, we're no short of topics, but we want to make sure that, you know, this platform is being a blessing to all of our listeners. So in conclusion, Anthony, I just want to take some time also just to thank the team that helped pull this off. I mean, this was truly just a blessing that took place. And so first of all, I want to thank Pod Pony, who was the producers behind this show. Thank you so much to Broderick and to Pete and to the entire team at Pod Pony. Thank you so much for believing in our vision and for trusting us with this work. And we're just so appreciative. I want to thank Veronique, who is truly the muscle to the business. I'm so grateful for her and for Ashley and for Hope, who just hold Alexander Legacy down so I could be out here doing things like this on a day-to-day basis. Thank you so much. Thank you to the Carson Group, who also provides me a great platform so that we can have these type of conversations and take this to the next level. And my dear friend, all the way from New York City, thank you, Dr. Anthony Chan, for believing in me, for trusting me with this vision and being on this mission with me. You know, I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. And I just trust that this is just the best is still yet to come. This was just an appetizer that we gave. And so I want to encourage sponsors, listeners, if you want more of this, come on now. This is like, I want to make sure you guys get in. We are going to have a lot of fun this year. We're going to be great, relevant topics that are digestible, that everyone can understand, and we're going to make the world a better place while we're doing it. Thank you again for joining us for another episode of Legacy Lessons with Jack and Chan, where our goal is to provide you education, inspiration, information over a little bit of conversation. Let's go.